So here he is in Gethsemane, wrestling with whether he can follow through. And here he is before Pilate and before the priests and before the soldiers' mockery, at any moment able to call down legions of angels and end this thing and not follow through. And he always follows through and he makes it to the end, and we are saved because of it. How did he do that? And this text says he did it because he wasn't just pondering the pain of the moment, which was exquisite and unbearable in any ordinary way, and he had his eyes fixed. Just, what? How many hours? 12 hours out. Paradise. With his Father at his right hand, and eventually surrounded by millions of redeemed people purchased by this moment. And that stayed him. It stayed him. That hope and that joy made him able to do it. I'm going to be the happiest son of God in the universe at my Father's right hand, surrounded by praising saints. The objection to this is very common. You have just turned an act of suffering and love into selfishness, Piper. Right? It's about my joy, world. I want to be happy as the Son of God, and I am going to go through this so that I can be happy with my joy forever. That's not love, that's selfishness. I've lived a long time with these truths, and I can remember back in my study days in Germany, well-known ethicists arguing anything done for any reward is not ethically good. It's just selfish. So you interpret this verse that way, you destroy the love of Christ. That's a really big objection. Needs an answer. And there is an answer. What is selfishness? Nobody calls it selfish to suffer and die in order to include as many people as possible in the joy that I am pursuing. Let me say that again, see if you agree. Nobody calls it selfishness if I'm willing to suffer and die in order to include as many people as possible in the joy that I am pursuing. I am pursuing joy. That's what it says. For the joy that was set before him, he endured the cross. But what keeps it from being selfish is that selfishness means you squash people with no care for their good at all in order to get what you want. I don't care about you. I just want my benefit, and you don't matter to me. That's selfishness. But if I'm willing to die, and if I say to you, this works vertically, this works horizontally. How many older women have I visited in the hospital? Bless their hearts. Older women are so gracious. Younger women are less so. Sorry. No offense. Not much offense anyway. I walk into the hospital room late at night after an older woman has had a heart attack and she's got tubes, and I walk in, I put my hand on her arm, and she wakes up and she says, "Oh, Pastor, you didn't need to come." Now, that's the way older women respond. Younger women say, "It's about time." I'm sure kindred younger women are very different. Shouldn't have. But what she means is, you didn't need to inconvenience yourself late at night to come take care of me. I've got Jesus. I'm okay. Now, what should I say at that moment? Should I say, I know, and I didn't want to come, but it's my duty. I'm a pastor. I'd rather be at home playing with my kids. That's not the right thing to say. What I want to say is, and what I did say is, Esther, Helen, whatever your name, I said, you know, I don't think right now there's any place I'd rather be than strengthening your faith for this trial. It gives me great pleasure to share with you from the Word what I saw this morning in my devotions and give you a little more strength for the night. Never in a million years would she look up and say, gives you pleasure. You are so selfish. Now, why wouldn't she say that? Because that's what I said. Makes me happy to be here. Makes me happy to be here. Why wouldn't she accuse me of selfishness? Because you don't call it selfish if the joy you're pursuing means to include others in it, and you're willing to go out late at night to make it happen. You just don't. You don't call that selfishness. That's the way love works. At least that's the way biblical love works. For the joy that is set before him, he drives to the hospital. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be a moment of deep, deep soul satisfaction to pour your life out late at night for the soul of a dying woman. It's going to be deeply, gloriously satisfying to your soul. That's not selfish if the aim is, I want her so bad to share in this joy. That's why I'm going. So I don't think that objection that says, I have turned the cross into selfishness works. I don't think that's a valid objection. So for the joy that was set before him, he endured the cross. The joy of being exalted at God's right hand, the joy of being surrounded by Christ exalting people, happy in him, he being most glorified in them when they are most satisfied in him. That's what he saw, and that's what sustained him. And that's what I believe will sustain you. Do you want to be loving like Jesus? That's a big question. I mean, if you want to be the kind of person who lays your life down for the good of others, this is the way you got to go at it. It's not the only way to think about it. It's just this biblical way to think about it is go at it this way. Which is why I said at the beginning, if you want to become a radically loving person, you must pursue your own joy. Which sounds counterintuitive to a lot of people. Like, no. Stop pursuing your joy and pursue love. Pursue obedience. I remember Elizabeth Elliot. Raise your hand if you've ever heard of Elizabeth Elliot. Good. I loved, and still love, she's in heaven, I loved Elizabeth Elliot. Blunt, no nonsense, go give your life for Jesus. You know, she wrote a biography of Amy Carmichael, and what did she title it? Chance to Die. I love this woman, okay? We were on a panel together in England, Britain. This guy's he's not English, I know that. He's from that neck of the woods. And we were on a panel over there, and I gave a talk like this, and she said in front of 3,000 people, I cased her or something like that, you know, and she said, John, this is really blunt, I don't think you should tell people to pursue their joy. I think you should tell them to pursue obedience. This is in front of 3,000 people. And I said, I don't think I called her Elizabeth because I was younger and she's older, and I don't do that. I said, you know, telling people to pursue obedience instead of joy is like telling them to pursue fruit instead of apples. Because we are commanded to pursue joy. You can't play the pursuit of joy off against obedience. Obedience is doing what you're told to do, and we're told to be happy in God. Delight yourself in the Lord. Rejoice always. And she said, I still don't like it. Not quite that way. But I mean, I just totally stand in awe of Elizabeth Elliot Wright. She's just ready to lay her life down for the unreached of the world. But my point is, it is not wrong or selfish or unbiblical to say to you, all of you, if you want to be a loving, obedient, Christ-exalting person, you must pursue and find your highest joy in Jesus. You just must. And if you think you must deny yourself the privilege of pursuing joy, which many Christians do, many Christians feel that the pursuit of joy is just bad. It's just bad. You should pursue something else. Pursue God, pursue obedience, pursue something. But don't pursue joy. That's selfish. It's just not going to work. It will not work. So you must pursue joy in God if you want to be a loving person now. If that's true, if we're on to something in verse 2 of chapter 11, what I asked myself is, okay, that sounds pretty radical and pretty counterintuitive and pretty strange. Am I twisting this verse? No. And one of the ways to test if you're twisting a verse to make it kind of fit what you like is to say, is there anything else in this book that would confirm that I'm on the right track? That's the way I think. So I'm going to show you two other places that say you're exactly on the right track. So here we go. This is chapter 10, verse 32. You listen. I'm going to read these 2 or 3 verses, and as I'm reading them, you listen for echoes of Hebrews 12:2. Okay? Recall the former days. This is 10:32. Recall the former days when, after you were enlightened, you endured a hard struggle with suffering. So after you were converted and the light of Christ dawned on your life and you became a Christian, you endured a hard struggle with sufferings, sometimes being publicly exposed to reproach and affliction, and sometimes being partners with those so treated. For you had compassion on those in prison, and you joyfully accepted the plundering of your property, so that since, and that's the key word here, since you knew that you had a better possession and an abiding one. So you got the situation. They're new Christians. The church is suffering because of its newness and people around it. Some of them get thrown into prison. The others have to make a decision. Do we visit them in prison, identify with them, and run the risk of our houses being trashed or burned? Or do we go underground and save our skins and let them suffer by themselves in prison? What do we do? And they made the compassionate decision, it says, to go to visit the prisoners. And while they were going to visit the prisoners, people trashed their house. They plundered their property. And how did they respond? They said, let goods and kindred go, this mortal life also. The body they may kill, God's truth abideth still, His kingdom is forever. And they're singing on their way to the prison. They're singing, because it says joyfully. They joyfully accepted the plundering of their property. Okay, that's the situation. Unbelievable love in the pursuit of joy. How did they do that? Next phrase. In chapter 12, it was for the joy that was set before him. Here it is, since you knew that you yourselves had a better possession and an abiding one. That's heaven. That's Psalm 16:11. In your presence is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore. I'm going to the prison. Live or die. I'm going to love my friends. Kill me. Take my house. Shoot my golden doodle. So I don't think I have twisted verse 2 of Hebrews 12. I think it's exactly what it says. I think that's what it says. Right here in chapter 10 is a replay on the earth in our lives of what happened to Jesus at the cross. They're going to love prisoners at the cost of their property, and they're rejoicing as they go because they've got joy beyond death. Oh, that's just glorious. Oh, I hope you view the Christian life that way. I mean, if you're just playing games, you really should go to another church. I don't think Pastor Philip wants to play games here. I don't think this church exists to play games. That's either real or it's not real. Come on, it's just real. Or not. If it's not, check out. If you don't sing, get out of the pulpit, right? And you do know that's a metaphor. That's a metaphor. Although I could have sung A Mighty Fortress right then instead of just quoting it, but I'm a chicken. One more illustration to show I think we're on the right track. In this chapter 11, verse 24, it's Moses. Moses could have stayed in Pharaoh's court with pleasures for the next 80 years. Safety, pleasure, comfort. And what he did was obey God, identify with cantankerous people called Israel, and pour out his life for the next, 40, 80, I forget, a lot of years, decades, until God took him. So how did he do that? Why did he make that crazy choice? And you're facing one of those probably right now. So listen, read it with me quietly. By faith, this is verse 24 of chapter 11. By faith, Moses, when he was grown up, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. Okay, I'm done. I'm not going to stay here. Choosing rather to be mistreated. That's exactly what Jesus did. Choosing to be mistreated with the people of God, than to enjoy the fleeting pleasures of sin. You do know that there are pleasures in this world beckoning you that are sinful. So when I say pursue your joy, I mean you're an idiot to pursue those. They'll kill you. They taste good, they feel good, but they'll kill you. There's better joy. So those are fleeting, like 80 years, I'm 79. I mean, to me, you couldn't entice me with that in 10,000 years. Like, you could live another 100 years, Piper, and I'll give you all the sexual delights and all the money delights and all the accolade delights you want. You just don't get Jesus in the end. I say, you're kidding me. What an idiot. You think I am? There are idiots everywhere. There are idiots in this room who have made the choice to live for fleeting pleasures because they just feel so good, and the one that's beyond the grave feels so far away. Oh, how we need to plead for each other and help each other see the unseen and walk by faith and taste. You know what it says in chapter 11, verse 1, faith is the substance of things hoped for. Well, if you put that together with chapter 12, he's hoping for joy beyond the grave. Faith is the substance, sometimes translated assurance. I think what that means is you don't have to wait entirely for the joy, right? By faith, you taste it now. There's a substance to the joy that flows back. So I think when Jesus is sweating blood for us in Gethsemane, he could taste it. He didn't just cross his fingers and say, it's out there, it's out there. He could taste it. He walked in it, and you can taste it. You have tasted it. If you're a Christian, you have tasted it. Okay, let's keep reading. Did we even start? Okay, verse 24. By faith, Moses, when he was grown up, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to be mistreated with the people of God than to enjoy the fleeting pleasures of sin. he considered the reproach of the Christ greater wealth than the pleasures of Egypt, for he was looking to the reward, for the joy that was set before him. This is the way the writer to the Hebrews has structured his whole approach towards ethics. For the joy that is set before Jesus, for the better possession for the saints in chapter 10, for the reward that Moses is looking to, all of them suffered for the good of other people. That's what Anaheim needs to see. That's what Minneapolis, Southern California, Minnesota need to see from this church and from my church. They need to see people like that. That's a strange person. They suffer for the good of others because they have a hope for satisfaction in God beyond the grave. So my closing plea is get to know Jesus like that. It says looking to Jesus in verse 2, looking to Jesus, and then it just describes how he did it. So closing 3 summary statements. If you embrace as true what I've been trying to say, here's 3 things that are going to happen in your life. 1, your joy, even through sufferings, will be overflowing because of what you see. Joy in Jesus, in the future, in union with him, pleasures at his right hand, it's going to be overflowing. Joy is going to be overflowing. Number 2, that joy in him will sustain love. And number 3, that joy-sustained love will make Jesus look really good. He is most magnified, glorified in you when you are most satisfied in him, especially as you walk out that satisfaction in sacrificial love for other people. Let's pray.